Namaste and hi friends, it's Parvati here with Visionary Veda, bringing you your Vedic Astrology Solar Eclipse report for this September 21st, 2025. In this report, I'm going to go over the energies at play for this very impactful solar eclipse. It's happening in the sign of Virgo in the nakshatra of Uttaraphalguni. So what does this all mean for us? What are the energies that are going to be up? There is a lot happening. We're all feeling it. There's no hiding it. There's such intense energy happening out there. And this is going to continue, but it will get better because right after this eclipse, we immediately begin the 9 nights of the goddess. So as you all remember from my last video, we are in a 2-week period known as the fortnight of the ancestors, or Pitru Paksha. Pitru literally means our forefathers. Paksha literally means a fortnight. So from the last lunar eclipse going into this solar eclipse, this is what has been up. The veils are thin, and it is the perfect time in which to connect with the ancestors. Now, this year is especially special because it is between eclipses, but generally this is always the fortnight of the ancestors. And on this upcoming new moon is when we do a great ancestral puja. So if you haven't been venerating your ancestors, you still have a few days leading up to the eclipse. When we are in the eclipse, it is the most important and potent time in which to do our spiritual work. Now, if you remember in the last video, I spoke about how the lunar eclipse fell in the Leo Aquarius axis, right? So Ketu is sitting in Leo, which is the south node of the moon, which is all the karmas coming into this world, into our lives from the past. Then we have Rahu, which is the head of the serpent, right? The head of the dragon, sitting in Aquarius that just wants to grow. It wants to eat. It wants to gobble up. It wants to expand in the realm of Aquarius. So the theme was the power shifting and the people uprising. And as soon as that lunar eclipse happened, I think it was the day after the lunar eclipse, we had this brutal political assassination here in the United States. And there's a lot of divisiveness happening, a lot of agendas, political agendas, wanting us to stay divided as a nation, as a people, dividing us with so many different ideologies, so many different narratives coming to us. And this is going to culminate on this solar eclipse. The sun, the government, the authority is getting eclipsed. Now, what's interesting about this one is that even though the lunar eclipse fell in the sign of Aquarius itself, right? So something happened that shocked us on a deep mental and emotional level as a society. Remember, Aquarius is a sign of the masses, opposite Leo, which is the sign of the ruling governance or kings, the kings in the past. So basically, with this eclipse, there was a huge turmoil, a huge trauma for us on an emotional, mental level, no matter which way you look at it, no matter what your ideology might be. Now, Ketu is in Leo still. It's sitting with Venus. The day before the eclipse, Moon is going to conjunct this Ketu. So something is going to happen in our collective minds or in the government. Something is going to come up that could be rather shocking, some sort of ending. And if it doesn't happen with the moon conjuncting Ketu, because it's a very intense, when the moon conjuncts Ketu, it can be a very liberating experience. Something can get liberated, something can get let go of within the realm of Leo, within the realm of leadership. And once that moon moves to meet that sun and that eclipse happens, Ketu is still going to be in Leo, but the new moon is falling in Virgo. So it's a very interesting eclipse. And we've had these eclipse cycles in Pisces and Virgo for the past 1.5 years, actually more now. So this is a definitive ending of that cycle. Okay, it's a definitive ending that's occurring. The other part about this eclipse is that it is going to be exactly opposing Saturn, sitting at 4 degrees Pisces. The eclipse is happening at 4 degrees Virgo, and Saturn is sitting there. Now, Saturn is going to bring in its karmic lessons. So in some realm, these lessons are going to be felt. Now, what is even more interesting, right? Or just as interesting, is that Uttaraphalguni is the sign, is the star, is the nakshatra ruled by the sun, first of all, which is getting eclipsed. But it indicates the back 2 legs of a marital cause. So it indicates diplomacy, it indicates agreements, it indicates trying to help one another, trying to be responsible for each other. Agreements that happen once we get into a serious marital relationship, right? Once you get married, you have each other's backs. You agree to look out for one another. You agree to, in most cases, hopefully, have a life of harmony. Now, this is falling in the leadership zone. So all of this caring, all of this agreement, all of this harmony, all of this understanding that usually occurs in this star is getting eclipsed. So just be aware of more divisiveness, more disagreements, not only in your personal life, but also between the political powers that be. It is going to be a bumpy ride. It's going to be a bumpy eclipse, but these are karmic lessons that if we can overcome, we can end once and for all, because it is a great ending that is occurring with this eclipse. Now, I have been doing these videos for a very long time now. Well, not that long, but at least 6 years here on the YouTube, which reminds me, thank you so much, everybody that has subscribed in the last few weeks. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing to my channel. It really does help support me in so many ways, and it's so appreciated. But just getting back to my experience here, we've gone through a lot in the past 6 years. And in reading the stars, I've seen so many celestial opportunities for us as a humanity, as a species, to change, to grow, to evolve, to understand, to come to understanding with our opponents, with our enemies. There's been so many times in the past 6 years where we've been on this verge of calamity, of cataclysm, of the pandemic, of wars, of all of these things. And in the stars, I see such a potential for these things to help us, to motivate us into awakening. And I'm sure it has happened to a lot of people on a personal level. They're waking up. But On a collective level, I have not, and I'm really sad to say this, but I haven't seen humanity as a whole rising up and learning the lessons and changing their ways. Maybe it's just a very, very slow process, and I shouldn't have great expectations to see things changing so quickly. But this is, again, one of those opportunities that we're getting with this eclipse, with this partial eclipse. We're getting the opportunity to really reap our karmas, to get over things in our lives. It's to let go of things that have been keeping us from oneness. You know, Pisces is the sign of unity. Pisces is a sign of oneness. Saturn, with its limitations and restrictions, can't really hold, the water so well. The water is going to want to flow. The water is going to want to purify. So if we as a humanity can't overcome it this go around, we're going to have plenty of chances. But on a personal level, it is a beautiful opportunity to do just that, to purify. Look, Virgo is the sign of purity. Pisces is the sign of collective unity. The eclipse is happening. It is the most important time during this eclipse. And I want each and every one of you to look up in your time zone when this eclipse is happening, because some rules to follow for gaining this purity, for gaining this spiritual upliftment, for allowing these things to end. If we all do our part, we're contributing to our collective health, to our collective connection. I really want to encourage everyone to do their part on this eclipse. So what I'd like everyone to do, I know for the West Coast that the eclipse falls a few minutes before 1 p.m. I think 12:54, 55 is the apex of the eclipse. In India, it's just past midnight, almost right before 1 a.m. the next day. So wherever you are in your time zone, figure out when the eclipse starts and when it ends. A good website to go to is Date and Time. I use that website all the time to see the timings, especially of the eclipses. So when the eclipse starts, do not take any food or water, but instead go into your spiritual practices, whether it's chanting, whether it's prayer, whether it's meditation, because it is said when we do any spiritual sadhana or any spiritual work during an eclipse, especially a solar eclipse, because it's, the life force energy, then that intention, those prayers, those sadhanas, that spiritual work gets magnified during an eclipse. So it's the best time to really put all of your energy, your intention, your prayer for peace, for peaceful change, for the growth of consciousness, awareness, for a better world during this eclipse window. Okay, please don't take any food, don't take any water, don't eat any leftovers. If you're going to eat and drink, do it before the eclipse starts. And then during the entire duration of the window, just go into meditation and prayer. Do not go outside. Try and be inside. Try and be focused. Try and send your intentions of healing, of light, of evolution into the ethers. Then after the eclipse passes, then the first thing to do is to bathe, to shower, to rinse off, to purify, clear off any of those energies from the eclipse, because it's Rahu, and Ketu. And these are the Rakshasas, they're the Asuras that want to obscure our light. Right? So we don't want to allow that. We want to focus on growing our light during this time. We want to give to the collective energy positivity so that we're not overcome by the shadows. So take a bath and then do something for other people. Do some service. Practice a random act of kindness. Put some kindness, some energy of goodness. Give some contributions, or contribute to people who are suffering, contribute to a GoFundMe of a friend in need. Help people out, pay it forward. Do something that shows some act of charity or service after this eclipse. This is going to just help to purify your soul. It's going to help to purify your karmas. See, we can use these things. We don't have to be fear mongers. I know that a lot of times with the Vedic astrology, it can indicate a lot of intensity, but we can use it in our favor if we come to these things with a higher mind, right? With a spiritual heart of wanting to affect change in our lives and in the world around us. So, give some donations, do some service, and spread some kindness and joy wherever you can. And then straight after, cook a fresh meal with fresh prana, and then we begin. We begin the 9 nights of the goddess, and this is where we can just surrender everything unto her. We can surrender everything that has been holding us back. We can surrender bad habits, bad tendencies, bad thoughts, anything that's plaguing us and keeping us down. And then we can also pray to her to bring us joy and light. And I want to really encourage everyone out there to celebrate this, whether it's with your community or on an online program. I'm going to be participating in a few Navaratri 9 Nights of the Goddess programs, talking about the Kamatrika and how we can enjoy this life. Because this life is meant to be celebrated. This life is meant to be joyful and happy. And we have that potential in us as long as we don't keep giving ourselves up to the powers that be that want to bring us down. So I'm going to get off my high horse and my pulpit now. I'm going to wish everybody a very happy Navaratri in advance and a very powerful, transformational solar eclipse. It's time to purify. It's time to let go. It's time to evolve and ascend and really come together as one. That is the theme for this eclipse. And as usual, if you would like a reading with me, you can reach out to me at my email below, or you can check out my Instagram bio, or you can go to my website. It's all Visionary Veda, VEDA. My email is visionaryveda@gmail.com. My Instagram is Visionary Veda. It's all Visionary Veda. Come find me. Have a reading with me. Celebrate your life, my friends. Enjoy your life, my friends. And I will see you in the next video. Oh, one more thing. Let us do this beautiful mantra together. If you don't have a mantra that you're currently doing, this is a beautiful one. And it is basically asking the universe, the divine, to lead us to truth, to bring more light into our lives and liberate us from our karmic bondages. So, and if you've been following me, you know this one. So let's do it together, shall we? Okay. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, bring us from the untruth, the unreal, to the truth, to the real. Bring us from darkness into the light. Jyotish, the light. Bring us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. So many blessings and so much love to all my viewers. See you in the next one. Take care, my friends. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.